is crisp and fresh, carrying the scent of damp earth and pine as we begin our journey in the outskirts of a quaint Swiss town. The sun is only just beginning to rise, casting golden hues over the wooden houses that stand proudly along the narrow streets. Some of these homes, built in traditional Alpine style, boast intricate carvings on their balconies, while others are sleek, modern structures with large glass windows that reflect the beauty of the surrounding nature. A car hums softly as it drives past, its headlights flickering in the dim morning light. The town is waking up slowly, the occasional clatter of shutters being drawn open, the muffled sound of voices inside homes preparing for the day. As we move forward, the town begins to unfold in all its charm, each turn revealing a new slice of life. A bakery on the corner releases a puff of warm, yeasty air as the door swings open. A cyclist in a thick coat pedals past, heading toward the heart of the town. We continue forward, taking the road to the right, a path that gradually leads out of the town. The houses become more spaced out, and soon we find ourselves on the open road, leaving behind the quaint charm of the village. Fields stretch out on either side, golden and green under the morning sun. The scent of damp grass lingers in the air, and in the distance, the silhouette of rolling hills and mountains forms a breathtaking backdrop. There is a strange quiet out here, a stark contrast to the slow stirrings of the town. The road winds gently, and the further we go, the more isolated the landscape becomes. Here, the mountains appear larger, looming over the fields like silent sentinels. The occasional farmhouse stands alone, its wooden walls weathered by time, a single chimney releasing a wisp of smoke that dissolves into the sky. As the sun climbs higher, we approach the edge of a dense forest. The trees stand tall, their branches intertwining to create a canopy that casts dappled shadows on the road. The deeper we go, the thicker the forest becomes. Birds flutter between the trees, their chirping the only sound breaking the eerie stillness. A gust of wind rushes through the leaves, creating a rustling whisper that seems almost like voices murmuring in the distance. The road narrows here, winding sharply as it snakes through the wilderness. The sense of solitude deepens, the outside world seeming further and further away. Suddenly, the forest opens up slightly, revealing a river running parallel to the road. The water glistens under the sun, reflecting the vibrant greens of the surrounding trees. To the left, the forest continues, an endless sea of deep green stretching into the unknown. A wooden bridge appears ahead, its planks worn but sturdy. As we cross, the sound of rushing water echoes beneath, an unrelenting force carving its way through the land. The mountains in the distance are closer now, their peaks jagged against the sky, dusted with the remnants of snow. By late afternoon, the forest begins to thin, revealing scattered houses on the horizon. We are approaching another town, smaller than the first but equally charming. The buildings here are more rustic, some showing signs of age, their wooden beams darkened by time. Smoke curls from chimneys, a sign of life in this remote place. The road straightens as we enter, and the sense of civilization returns, albeit at a slower, more tranquil pace. A few villagers walk along the roadside, their gazes curious yet friendly. A small marketplace is set up near the town center, wooden stalls displaying fresh produce, homemade cheeses, and local crafts. The evening sky is painted in hues of orange and deep violet as the sun begins its descent beyond the towering peaks. A cool breeze sweeps through the narrow streets of the secluded town, carrying with it the faint scent of burning wood and damp earth. The lamps flicker to life, casting long, wavering shadows against the stone-paved paths. There is a hushed murmur in the air, an underlying unease that clings to the town like mist. Windows are shut swiftly as we pass, as though prying eyes have seen too much. A tavern sits at the town's heart, its wooden sign creaking under the weight of time and wind. Inside, the dim glow of candlelight dances across rough-hewn tables where a few locals sit, nursing their drinks in silence. A figure emerges from the shadows near the entrance, a woman wrapped in a thick shawl, her gaze steady, piercing. She moves towards us with purpose, her boots clicking softly against the stones. "You're not from around here," she states, her voice low yet firm. There is no accusation, just observation, but the way her eyes search ours speaks of something deeper, something lurking beneath the surface of this quiet town. Further ahead, the road out of town is marked by an old, wooden archway, its beams worn by time, adorned with faded carvings that once told a story now lost to history. Beyond it, the path winds into another stretch of wilderness, where the forest thickens once more, its secrets waiting to be unveiled. The woman's voice pulls us back. "Be careful on the road ahead. The mountains don't take kindly to strangers at night." And with that, she is gone, vanishing into the narrow alleys as though she was never there. The tension lingers in the air as we press forward, leaving the eerie silence of the town behind. The darkness gathers in the forest ahead, an ink-black void between the trees. Every rustling leaf, every snapping branch underfoot feels amplified in the stillness. The river is our only companion now, its waters moving with a ghostly shimmer under the pale light of the moon. To the left, towering cliffs rise like silent guardians, jagged edges casting ominous shadows against the night sky. The path narrows, hugging the river closely, and the sensation of being watched creeps upon us like an unseen force lurking just beyond the trees. The road ahead twists and turns, narrowing into an uneven dirt path flanked by towering pines. The scent of damp moss and fresh earth intensifies, mingling with the distant, almost metallic tang of the river to the right. The sound of flowing water is steady, its rhythm soothing yet unsettling in the quiet of the night. A dense fog is beginning to settle along the path, curling around the trunks of trees like ghostly fingers. A sudden rustling from within the undergrowth to the left sends a jolt of awareness through us. The forest, once merely foreboding, now feels alive with unseen movements. The moonlight catches glimpses of shifting shadows, momentary flickers of something just beyond reach. The howl we heard earlier still lingers in our minds. Was it an animal, something else? There is no way to tell, and perhaps that is for the best. We press forward, each step accompanied by the soft crunch of gravel beneath our feet. The trees seem to close in, their branches arching overhead, forming a natural tunnel that swallows the faint light of the stars above. The further we go, the quieter the world becomes. The river, once an ever-present companion, now feels muted, its voice distant, as if we have wandered into a place untouched by time itself. Then the whispering starts. At first, it is barely noticeable, a faint sound carried by the wind, indistinguishable from the rustling of leaves, but as we continue, it grows. Low murmurs drifting through the trees, weaving around us, never quite forming words but filled with an unmistakable intent. The whispers are neither welcoming nor hostile, merely present, as though the forest itself is watching, acknowledging our passage. A break in the trees reveals something unexpected, a wooden post standing tall amidst the undergrowth. A weathered sign is nailed to it, the wood warped and cracked from exposure. The words carved into its surface are in a language unfamiliar, yet the warning in them is clear. Beneath the text, a crudely drawn symbol, an eye, wide open, encircled by jagged lines. The meaning is lost on us, but the unease it stirs is undeniable. The forest seems to shift then, the trees groaning softly as though whispering to one another. The path before us curves around a rocky outcrop, leading into an area where the trees are spaced further apart. Through the thinning canopy, we see another shape in the distance, a structure, barely visible through the fog. A cabin, isolated, silent, standing on the edge of the forest like a forgotten relic. The windows are dark, the wooden walls covered in creeping vines. An old lantern hangs from a rusted hook by the door, swinging gently though there is no wind. The whispers fade as we step closer, replaced by an unsettling silence. The door is slightly ajar. A chill runs down our spine. The forest behind us is vast, unknowable, filled with things unseen, and yet the cabin before us is no less intimidating. There is no logical reason to go inside, and yet, some unspoken force draws us forward. We step onto the porch, the wood creaking beneath our weight. The interior is dark, the air inside carrying the stale scent of neglect. A single wooden chair sits in the center of the room, facing a cold, empty fireplace. The walls are lined with shelves, their contents covered in dust. Books, trinkets, bottles of unknown liquids. And then, on the farthest wall, a series of symbols carved into the wood. A sudden sound from outside a snapping branch. The realization strikes that we are not alone. We turn toward the door, our pulse quickening, the weight of unseen eyes pressing in from all directions.